Hello again, friends. Welcome back to another In Other News, wherein I usually talk about news stories that aren't on the front page making headlines around the world. But I'm going to make an exception today because some big news has broke out of North Korea that lots and lots of folks have already emailed me. I've got dozens and dozens of emails. People hit me up on the tweets and the Facebooks asking me questions about what does this mean? And of course, what I'm talking about is North Korea conducting their third nuclear test. Happened last night, about 12 hours ago. Something went boom underground in North Korea. However, I'm not just going to talk about the details of that and their nuclear program because there's not a lot to tell yet. Something went boom, that's all we know. What I do want to talk about is who's actually probably most pissed off about this particular North Korean third nuclear test. In fact, let's entitle this one, it just came to me, A North Korean Nuke Test Most Cheeses Off Cheese China. Say that 5 times fast. The Xi I'm referring to is Xi Jinping, the up-and-coming, almost in-office new president of China. Hu Jintao is still officially in charge, I believe, but Xi Jinping is coming up, and he's the one who's going to be in office for at least 5 to 10 years. So this is his China that's going to have to deal with this North Korean debacle. And that's exactly what I want you to know. So I'm going to talk about a headline news stories, but in a behind-the-scenes way of, here's what's really important about this test. This is really bad news for China. It's probably already infuriated the Chinese. They've already come out publicly, like almost every other country on the planet, and condemned this test. And the thing that I wanted you to understand about China's relationship with North Korea is this testing stuff is really bad for Xi's China. They're the ones who are now in a horrifically bad situation. I know the way that most reporters look at things and the way that most people understand international news, which isn't much, they say, oh my gosh, North Korea may have a nuclear bomb, and so that's bad for America. Oh, that's bad for Japan. Maybe. Oh, that's bad for South Korea. Yeah, maybe. This is really bad news for China. Okay, first off, let me back it up before I get too wound up. What am I talking about here? A test was conducted, underground nuclear test was conducted about 12 hours ago in North Korea. Their third. The first time it's happened since Kim Jong-Un, our chubby North Korean leader, has taken office over a year ago. This comes on the heels of them doing a rocket test. It was just in December they did this rocket test, where the most successful rocket test that I think cleared the Philippines. And maybe that was the second rocket or third rocket test since he's been in office. So in 1 year, a whole lot of activity on the missile/rocket and nuclear front has occurred in North Korea. And you kind of put 2 and 2 together here, and yes, it's quite obvious they're trying to develop a offensive or defensive capacity to have rockets/missiles that can carry a nuclear payload. That is, they're trying to get a nuclear bomb. See, it's important to point that out. It's obvious to everyone, and I think the North Koreans even were like, yes, we want it. That's unlike Iran, which people condemn in the same sentence as North Korea, but Iran has said all this time, look, we're not trying to get a nuclear bomb. So big difference, number one, is yes, North Korea is saying, yeah, we want to get it, we're going to blow something up. So that occurred 12 hours ago. It was underground seismic boom. It can be detected all over the world. Of course, entities like the United States and China and Russia and Japan watch North Korea exceptionally closely. So everybody's been keeping tabs on it, and this isn't propaganda. It's not fake. They didn't say they conducted a nuclear test. No. You can feel it. Seismic detectors can detect it. And it was a 4.2, 4.6 on the Richter, but very localized and just a mile underground. Ain't an earthquake, it's a bomb, okay? It was a test. Faux show. Now, why? Why would North Korea be this insane? Well, they have a long history of insanity, for starters, but I think what we can assess from these moves is that mostly, in my eyes, you got this, the chubby one, Kim Jong-Un, the un-Kim, the un-leader, is definitely trying to I won't say puff up his chest, but prove that he is a strong leader. He's only been in office a year. He's exceptionally young. He was completely unknown a year and a half ago. So he has to, for internal reasons, I think, he does have to puff up the chest and rah-rah, pro-nationalist North Korea is awesome, and I'm your awesome, strong leader. Look what I'm doing. Even in the face of international condemnation. North Korea strong. I lead this country strong. I mean, it's actually pretty predictable. Any leader, when they get into office, wants their people to rally around them and respect them. And since North Korea is a huge insane asylum debacle economically, this is all they've got. The only way this guy can prove his legitimacy is to try to make North Korea look legitimate in the world's eyes by having legitimate military power. Because they got nothing else. He has no card to play internally besides military power. He has no card to play externally besides military power. So it's actually not that wild of a prediction to have said a year ago, yes, this guy might go that military route and try to look really strong. Because things that people don't think about behind the scenes are that there are very strong military leaders within North Korea too. Some that may want to overthrow the Kim regime. Some that maybe never liked them. Some that want the Kim regime to be more, even more hawkish. So it's not that Kim Jong-Un rules with an iron fist. He kind of does. But there are other palace intrigues that go on in this place. So Kim Jong-Un trying to make himself look strong, rally public support. This is the only way he can do it. He's done it. And again, this is on the heels of rocket tests that have happened in the last year too. Many of us a year ago, including myself, were like, oh, maybe the chubby one is going to be nicer. Maybe he's going to try to have a North Korea where people aren't starving to death, where they try to economically change and join planet Earth. All of us have been proven wrong. He made some moves early on, but that all kind of went away. Anyway, let me get back to China. Why else would Kim Jong-un's North Korea have done this? They've got nothing to lose. So Kim Jong-un wants to strengthen his position internally and perhaps externally. 2, they got nothing else to lose. They don't trade with anybody. They don't deal with anybody. They have no friends except maybe China. Back to the China thing in a minute. There are already world sanctions on them. The whole world hates them except Iran. So nothing's going to change, and they know that. So again, if you're a betting person, if you play the odds, there's no loss here. The world can't do anything else to them, so why wouldn't you puff up your chest and do what you have to do to gain internal power? And the third reason why that this test probably happened is they're batshit crazy insane. The North Koreans truly in their brains think that somehow acquiring a nuclear weapon will make them more important in the world, and therefore people will, I don't know, treat them better or something. It's truly insanity. They could have 10 nuclear bombs, and everybody's just going to think they're more and more crazy, more and more dangerous. But in North Korea, they see it as a sign of military power. They truly believe the whole world's trying to kill them, particularly the United States. They truly do. They truly think the United States is going to, any second, reenact the Korean War, and that tens of thousands of U.S. Marines are going to swarm across the North-South Korean border. They truly believe that because they're truly insane. So this is, again, a completely wise and calculated move on their part. They want to get a nuclear weapon, therefore ensuring that nobody's going to mess with them. But nobody wants to. Who the hell wants to mess with that basket case country? Anyway, that's why they did it. Okay, what was the world response? Totally predictable. This has been decades now, of at least 2 decades, of the North Koreans doing this nuclear stuff, trying to get a nuclear weapon. And for 2 decades, the whole world has said, don't do that. We don't like it. You're crazy. Stop. And that's why you have world sanctions, passed through the United Nations, by the way, not even vetoed by China anymore. Nope, China has been backing UN world sanctions against North Korea. So nobody trades with them. Nobody gives them very much aid except a few countries. Nobody deals with them politically. No one has embassies there. No one politically messes with them. I mean, again, going back to, they got nothing to lose. The world already shuns them, and they shun the world. So there's not that much to do, and the world response has been predictably, hey, we hate you, stop doing that. Okay, well, you've been saying that for years. So the rest of this rant, I want to get back to the title, which is Who really stands to lose with this North Korean nuclear test? Who is most threatened by it? Who is really cheesed off? And the answer, surprising to most everyone, is China. China is a huge loser in this. And so we need to think about the world response. That's predictable. What's the United States and China's response going to be? Because that, quite frankly, they're the only ones that matters. Not to diss all my other great countries in the world. Because yes, Japan has condemned this and said we're really worried. South Korea obviously has condemned this and said we're really worried. Even Russia's like, dude, this isn't good. We're kind of worried. But nobody else is really going to do anything or change their stance at all except the two big boys, U.S. and China. So, and I'm suggesting China has the most to lose here. What am I talking about? China is really the only friend of North Korea already. And there's a big, almost mythology / misinformation on planet Earth that China somehow controls North Korea. No, they don't. And this test further proves that China, even China's voice, is increasingly not cared about in North Korea. So the first thing is that I want you to know is this North Korean test is dissing the Chinese. This is embarrassing to the Chinese. The Chinese are the only country that has like good diplomatic relations with this state. China is this gigantic superpower, colossus neighbor of North Korea that quite frankly can do nothing to stop this madness from happening. And that's embarrassing to China. If it's not, it should be embarrassing to China. But it is embarrassing to China. So the world opinion is, oh, China, why don't you make them stop doing this? And China, quite frankly, is powerless, and no superpower wants to feel powerless. Over the decades, China has kind of taken the attitude of, oh, well, you know, North Korea is small younger brother of China. China did help North Korea in the Korean War, and that's where the relationship was formed. And then, of course, North Korea kind of went communist, kind of like China did, but kind of in a bizarre, totally crazy different way. So they have been loose allies for all this time. And the way I try to teach it in class is this has been to China's benefit for all this time, is to have North Korea as kind of a loose cannon, kind of a destabilizing influence over there. Why? Why would that be in China's benefit? Because South Korea, U.S. ally. Japan, U.S. ally. Taiwan, U.S. ally. You look all around this part of the world, and everybody is kind of a U.S. pro-democracy, pro-capitalist buddy of the United States. So it has served China's purpose to have this other entity up there that helps, that's kind of their buddy, that's kind of their puppet, not really, to destabilize all these places and get them off balance and make them unsure. It's a projection of Chinese influence into an otherwise U.S.-dominated foreign policy arena. Does that make sense? So they've been all this time going, oh, yeah. North Korea crazy, that's funny. It ain't funny no more, even to the Chinese, because now it's gotten away from them. And now China's rich, and China trades with South Korea, and trades with Japan, and China's all about stability. Stability for their own country, but stability for the wider region. It is now not in China's interest to have a crazy-ass rogue state with nuclear weapons that may start World War III on their border, because it's just going to destroy their own economy. If North Korea and South Korea get into a fight again, and North Korea is nuclear armed, they're going to blow up parts of the 12th or 13th largest economy on planet Earth, South Korea, and parts of the third largest economy on Earth, Japan. And those are both big trading partners of China. This is no longer in China. This game is no longer fun for China. So they're in this horrific position of everybody thinks they can affect North Korea because they've been buddies with them all this time. And everybody wants them to make North Korea less crazy because people think they can, and they can't. And it's getting away from them, and it's embarrassing. That's what I'm talking about. But let me end on this. Why else is this particularly dangerous for China? For China. See, everybody thinks North Korea is going to get a weapon, so it's going to be dangerous for South Korea and Japan. Yeah, kind of. But they're getting those weapons is still a ways off. And them actually using the weapons is always a question mark too. Would they actually use them? But here is the reality that will happen. We really don't know what's going to happen with North Korea. We know this is going to happen, and this is going to cheese off China. What I'm talking about is the U.S. response. The U.S. response is going to extremely upset China, and there's not a lot they can do about that either. What I'm referring to is that the United States is in a position, which we have been for decades, saying these guys are crazy. These guys want a nuclear weapon. These guys are dangerous. They're destabilizing. China, you don't want that. And so we all should work together to make North Korea less crazy and or stop their nuclear program. The U.S. already has sanctions against North Korea. The U.S. already doesn't trade with North Korea. Again, I could go through the litany. Nobody does. But the U.S. has been kind of leading this charge of, no, we're not going to do anything with these folks. In fact, the U.S. actually has, in times past, given foreign aid to North Korea, given them fuel, and under the understanding that, hey, we're going to help you out so that you'll be less crazy. And right now, I believe the United States has gotten to the end game of that. That is the one thing that, so far in all this mess, will probably change. Nothing else has really changed. North Korea is still crazy. The world still condemns them. But I believe you're seeing the point at which the United States is saying, we're not bargaining anymore. What's the point? We're not giving you any more foreign aid. We're not giving you any more food. We're not going to give you any more fuel. You're batshit crazy. You've proved it time and time again. Go to your boys in China and get your food and fuel aid. We're doing nothing else. Starve to death, you batshit crazy country. You're going to see South Korea probably do the same thing. Again, all the countries in the vicinity have been kind of helping prop up North Korea all this time because nobody wants to see it collapse. Nobody wants to see this dangerous regime with possible weapons just implode. But mostly China don't want to see it. So back to point. The United States now is in a position of saying, we ain't going to do nothing else for you peeps. More importantly, the United States is going to say, China, pony up. You're a big boy power now. You must do something about North Korea. Because if you can't, we will. That is the big change. I think you're going to see it unfold here in the next weeks to months. Let me get more specific. The United States is going to say, do something. China is now the only country left standing who still helps North Korea, who does provide some fuel, international investment. The Chinese for the last 2 or 3 years have been saying, hey, open up your economy a little bit. Let's have some Chinese factories over there to try to infuse some capital into your crazy-ass, non-existent economy. That's been the Chinese role. And China's been wanting to take it slow, and hey, let's make them more sane, and we can do all this. And they still do provide aid and food and fuel. They're the only ones left that do it. So now the United States and others, et al., can say, you're the only ones with a lever now, boys. You must pull that lever to reel in these crazy people. And China, I think predictably, is going to be like, we really can't do much. If China takes that attitude that we can't do anything, here's what will happen next, for sure. The United States is going to say, oh, okay, so you can't do anything. So you're a superpower that can't do anything. Okay, we're a superpower that can do something. And here is exactly what we're going to do. We have obligations to our friends and allies in this region, namely South Korea and Japan, possibly Taiwan, possibly anybody else. The United States is going to make a very solid argument that, okay, China, you can't do anything? Really? You're that loser of a superpower. You can't do anything? Okay. We accept that. You're losers. We're not. So we're going to start arming the living shit out of South Korea and Japan, which, by the way, we already have. We're going to start putting more U.S. troops in these countries, which we already have upwards of 50,000, 60,000 U.S. personnel in Japan and in South Korea. I know there's at least 28,000 in South Korea and like 30 in Japan. So the U.S. is going to say, well, okay, you can't do it. We will. And increasingly, and this is the new part of this, you're going to see the United States say, okay, well, we really don't want to invade North Korea. Nobody does. We're really just worried about their missile, nuclear stuff. So, since China's useless, we, therefore, will start building a ballistic missile shield with our Asian allies. Hoo-yah! You heard it here first. That's definitely going to go down. Now, for those of you that have followed me in the past, you know I'm not really a big fan of the missile defense shield idea. I still think it's not really functional anywhere. People tell me all the time I'm wrong, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm right, why are we worried about missiles? And the answer is, we are worried about missiles, which means it doesn't work. But you're going to see perhaps billions or trillions from the United States put into increased radar systems, missile systems stationed in South Korea and Japan with missiles pointed in the skies to be able to detect and intercept any North Korean rockets that may happen in the future. Now again, why is this particularly cheese off the Chinese? Because the Chinese are like, hey, you can't build up a big missile defense shield around us. That's threatening to us. You're right, it is. You're right, China, it is. But unless China does something about North Korea, I think even Chinese politicians have to be like, well, I mean, the U.S. has got to do what it's got to do to protect its allies. We understand that. So this nuclear test in some nation, quite frankly, is most dangerous and troubling to the Chinese. The U.S. response, I think, is pretty predictable, and it will happen. The United States has no problem with this. The Chinese are the ones who are going to start feeling encircled by the U.S. and its allies with a missile defense shield, and perhaps increased armaments in the vicinity, increased U.S. naval presence in the vicinity to legitimately protect its allies in this vicinity. So this is going to be exceptionally troubling to the Chinese, who will see a whole lot more military action that would seem to be surrounding it in an area that it considers its influence and its charge. And quite frankly, it should be threatened by that, and it should be doing more to protect this. The Chinese, above all other things, want stability. They'll be the first to admit this to you. Among all other things, stability. And they're losing that. One critical thing they fight hardest for, they're losing that as North Korea spins off into further and further insanity with more dangerous and dangerous weapons. Let me end on this, because lots of folks have been writing me saying, Boyer, what's up, man? Is this like going to be World War III? I don't know. I don't think so. I certainly hope not. But one of the things that kept nuclear Soviet Union from attacking nuclear United States and vice versa during the Cold War, in other words, the Cold War stayed cold because both entities that were nuclear armed in it understood that using nuclear weapons would result in the death of everyone. In other words, MAD, mutually assured destruction. That's because both entities in the Cold War were sane, stable political organizations who understood the principle of MAD. That's why the Cold War was cold. North Korea is not sane. North Korea does not get MAD, okay? And North Korea may be perfectly willing to accept complete and utter destruction of the entire Korean Peninsula and more, just to prove a point, because again, they're not sane. So I'm really not at a point to say that, yes, no, don't worry about this, it's no big deal. I'm at the point of thinking, yeah, this is problematic. Because Kim Jong-Un is young. He's going to be in office forever. And if this is his first year out, a non-stop ambitious drive to get nuclear weapons, it doesn't fare well for the future. And again, mostly the country that's having the biggest problem with this is China next door. Increasingly with egg on its face, increasingly seemingly powerless, and increasingly will be surrounded by a strengthened U.S. presence which will not tolerate threats to its allies in the region. That makes sense? Questions, comments, concerns? Love this issue. Love to get some feedback. Tell me what to do a podcast about next. But for now, time to get to class, and I'm out.